Hello, my name is Dougie Brimson and welcome to the Stock Car Show, a brand new programme on the Men and Motors channel looking at what many people consider to be the most spectacular motorsport of them all. Over the next 6 weeks, we'll be here at the Northampton International Raceway telling you exactly what stock car racing is all about and showing you some of the different cars you can see racing here on the ovals. And the formula we're going to kick it off with is the most spectacular of them all, the kings of the ovals, the Formula One stock cars. Okay, I know what you're thinking, big. The first thing you notice about a Formula One stock car is this massive wing. It's certainly not there for decoration, it's there for a function. When these cars are hammering down the straight, these will force the car down onto the track and get as much power down as possible. It's also a pretty good place to put all the sponsors, who are very important. The other thing you'll notice is this, the steel bumper. This is there for a very important reason. Because in Formula One stock car racing, contact is the name of the game. These bumpers are there to remove the opposition and get them out your way. Oh, just as importantly, there's these Nerf bars on the side, a massive bumper on the back, and this huge roll cage to protect the driver. In all, one of these cars will weigh in nothing less than 1,300 kilograms. That's not far off the weight of a transit van. Now, pushing that weight along takes a fairly powerful engine, and under the bonnet of a Formula One stock car, you'll find a V8 one. But not any old V8, a 600 brake horsepower, 9 litre, 540 cubic inch one. It's very loud, very powerful, and very expensive. But on these little tracks, it will hammer this car along at upwards of 80 miles an hour. But enough of me talking about them, let's see them in action.
So gets the V8 stocks off and running, and this is real heavy metal running. Listen to those V8 engines race. Lots of roaring here at the short course quarter-mile circuit, running on the anti-clockwise version of the circuit this afternoon. Green flag out, and we're under racing conditions. It's the first race meeting of the season here for the V8s. Whoa, slightly sideways, very sideways there for the 409 car of Roy Jones from Hartford. I think that's almost his race done already as the rest of the field goes storming past him into turn 1, lap 2. Now these cars are really, really heavy. Imagine being one of the tyres on these cars. The sort of sidewall pressures that they're going round on these 90-degree bends oval racing are absolutely colossal. Heavy metal, full contact allowed. 32 and 2 just dicing there. 2 the Rob Beale car, 32 the Darrell Harris car from Stanmore. And you can see how the techniques differ wildly. 32 cooks it, there go the rear tyres, lights up the tyres, loses adhesion. Thank you, good night Vienna, and through goes the rest of the field. 238 there, the well-known car of Darren Mitchell. And keep an eye on that man, number 6, Alan England, who's been tearing through the field in some of the races here earlier on today. Very fast indeed, lots of opposite lock, lots of steering wheel input in these cars. The technique is to drift them through the corners as Alan England comes up against 238. 238 there, big time battling. Battling half with the car and half with the other guys in the race this afternoon. Darren Mitchell getting deposed as Alan England goes through into turn 3, takes the inside line, forces the other car wide. Now both of those cars have had to slow down as a result to get through somewhat tippy-toe fashion, and Alan England is now paying the price for his move because Darren Mitchell's got the inside line. He hasn't got the acceleration out of turn 2 though, so England holds position. Tearing through the field, as I said, 32 Darrell Harris, getting lapped I think there by the England car. Somebody going very sideways, 238 straight into the wall, lost it, got a tank slapper of enormous proportions. That's the end of his race. England goes through as the Mitchell challenge disappears, and in fact Alan England is now into his final lap. Looks as though he's going to take the win. 238 nudging 32 out again. It's not been a race for number 32, Darrell Harris, that he will be at all pleased with. But up at the front, it's still going to be the win, I think. Alan England in car number 6 comes across the line to take the win. Terry Harris in 33 is going to make it second position. And in car 34, continuing the family tradition, Dennis Harris in the 34 car. So those are your finishers for this, the V8 stock race. Good win there for Alan England in the number 6 car. Terry Harris in 33. And in 34, third position for Denny Harris.
Now these cars may look a bit low-tech, but in fact they're every bit as specialised as Grand Prix cars. Everything on here is designed with a purpose in mind, and that purpose is durability and strength, because these cars might race twice in a weekend, so they've got to be strong enough to take that. Now some of the things they do to make sure they've got that durability Down here on the front axle, they weld chains between the axle and the chassis, because if the car clips a wall and rips the axle back, they've got to stop it flying off and causing even more damage. And that happens with alarming regularity, as we shall see.
And it's time now for the Formula 1 Stock Cars Heat 3, and the two big guys go in this particular race. That's Murray Harrison himself and world champion Junior Wayman in the number 1 car. Keep an eye out for both of those cars. There's likely to be sparks before we get to the checkered flag. Mr. Starter gets the cast. There goes Junior Wayman right at the back of the field. And off we go into racing once more for this, the third heat of the Formula 1 stock cars this afternoon on Northampton Motorsport. We'll let them settle themselves down into racing order and we'll see who goes to the front of the field. Keep your eye on 72, that's James Yarrow. We were talking to him just a second ago. 423 just pointing it slightly the wrong way. He'll catch himself up. I think he's already done it. Ian Tingle from Sheffield being T-boned by Gary Castell from Daventry in the 247 car. Locking up his wheels. Quite a lot of cars coming out of the exit to turn 3 there, but I think most of them will be able to restart. 38 and 229 look as though they've got wheels locked, so they'll take some prizing apart. Meanwhile, up at the front, more anarchy as they come out of turn 3. Lots of locked up wheels. 203 there, all over the shop. Does well, Dan Clark from Rothwell. Manages to hold it all together and continues off again as the previously intertwined 38 car disappears up this main straightaway at somewhat reduced speed. 218 there, just taking a very, very cautious way around the outside of 203. That's a big, wide old car in the Formula 1s. And there's the guy that we were talking about earlier on. World champion Frankie Wayman Jr. in the number 1 car. He's raced out in New Zealand where the racing is a darn sight harder than down here at the Northampton International Raceway Stadium. He's doing it here and obviously having a very, very gentle time of it by comparison. Mind you, I don't know whether I'd want to be behind the wheel of one of these mighty monsters as they go around the track on this, the Spring Rampage meeting. Not much time left now. 72, James Yarrow looks as though he may well have the win, stitched up. Comes out of turn 4. Is he going to get the win? I'm not sure whether he is or whether he isn't. 495 breathing right down his gearbox. .423 and 180 just dicing it as out they come from turn 4 once again. 72 at the front of the field, James Yarrow. He spoke to Darren Hart earlier on and simply said that he was out here enjoying himself, having fun this afternoon. It was all about smiling. Well, he's going to have a big grin on his face if he manages to take the checkered flag here this afternoon in this, the third heat for the Formula 1 stock cars. There's 72 going around once again, but very, very closely matched. Oh, he's been caught! He's been caught by the 345 car of Gary Coyle from Northwich. He will not be at all pleased by that. The yellow top has managed to take him out right on the last lap, and that's allowed Ray Witts to go through in the 180 car. From nowhere, he takes the win. Brilliant result for Ray Witts. In second position, he climbed almost to the front of the field. Junior Wayman in the number 1 car. And from Buckley, number 83, Tony Williams makes it third position.
The first time you ever come to a stock car meeting can be a very confusing experience, especially if the only motor racing you've ever seen before is on the telly. Some cars go around the track one way and some cars go around the other way. Some cars crash into each other and some cars are not allowed to. And so over the next couple of weeks, I'll explain a bit about stock car racing in the hope that it will not only encourage you to come down to your local stock car track, but may even get you out here racing. The first thing you need to know is that on the ovals there are 2 distinctive forms of racing, non-contact and contact. Contact racing is exactly what it says. The cars are allowed to shove, bore, spin, ram, shunt, depending on what formula you're looking at. The Formula 1 stock cars are all about contact, all about aggressive driving and aggressive tactics. Non-contact or hot rod racing is all about racing, it's about speed, and it's about driver ability. These cars are very fast, very technical and very, very agile. We'll be seeing examples of both types of racing over the next couple of weeks. Another thing that's unique to the ovals is that the good guys start at the back. If they want to win, they've got to get through the pack and take that checkered flag. To this end, all drivers are graded. The white roofs start at the front, then the yellow roofs, then the blue roofs, and then the red roofs. They're the good guys. If you see a car with a gold roof, then he's the current world champion.
As you can see, the field now starting to assemble. There's the Junior Wayman car right at the back of the field alongside number 2 Paul Harrison from Rotherham, who's the European champion in Formula 1. So everybody's moving, down goes the green flag, and off we go in this, the grand final for the Formula 1s on this, the Rampage meeting, Programme 2 for us here on Northants Motorsport. Already we see some lockery going on. You don't want to be inside one of these things when it goes over. They are very, very heavy indeed. You can hear full V8 engines roaring there, some real heavy metal. And just whilst the field settles down, I can tell you that tyre wear will be critical today. Now you can see Frankie Wayman has already torn through the field on his way towards the front. We've got the same colour coding for the drivers based on experience. The white tops, the less experienced cars at the front, all the way through to the gold car of the current world champion, Frankie Wayman Jr. 20 laps make up this grand final. The rolling starts that it doesn't fry too many clutches. And Frankie Wayman is really heading towards the front of the field. He's in 5th position at the moment, having started, make that 4th position, having started right from the back of the grid, tears his way through as the cars scatter around him. Still the exit to turn 3 and into turn 4, something of a bogey corner for everybody else. 247 there, just getting deposed. Gary Castell from Daventry, we saw him in one of the heats earlier on. And somewhere in the thick of it is James Yarrow from Market Harbour in the 72 car. Started well, but nowhere to be seen right now. Now, I bet number 180, Ray Witts from Sharnock Richard, is getting something of a wake-up call. Is there going to be contact between him and Frankie Wayman? Don't think there is, actually. But the number 1 car, whoa, takes him on the inside. You see the same technique that Rob Speake has. Very, very tight through the corners, very, very wide down the straights. You make effectively the oval into something of a circular circuit. If you can do that, you can keep the hammer down. That keeps your road speed up. Okay, it's going to chew your tyres up as the race goes on, but if you can get on the inside of one of the other cars, just as Frankie Wayman's doing there, you can make it stick. And that's what counts in Formula 1 and Formula 2. Neil Mellish from Worksop just being edged out there in the 111 car. 180 goes through along the same way. Frankie Wayman Jr.'s car is absolutely flying this afternoon. He said on the grid that the car was on song. It's proving to be exactly that. Coming up towards the end of this grand final race. In fact, I think we're on to finals time. And guess who's at the front of the field? It's that man. The world champion doesn't have his title for nothing. It's going to be the win for Frankie Wayman. Over he goes, takes the checkered flag from Ray Witts in number 180. And Gary Castell from Daventry, 247. We saw him earlier on this afternoon. He'll be very pleased with 3rd position.
We'll be seeing more of the Formula 1 stock cars in a later show this series. We're coming up after the break. Love them all over them. It's the bangers. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Stock Car Show. Coming up in this half, we'll be taking a look at my favourite formula, the bangers. The 2 favourite cars for banger racing are the Ford Cortina and a good old Ford Granada. But if you thought it was as simple as taking out the glass, ripping out the interior and slapping on a coat of paint, you would be wrong. Bangers are built to a very strict set of rules, all of which are in place to ensure the safety of the driver and the safety of the crowd should anything come flying off. For example, this roll cage in here is built out against the pillars to stop cars intruding into the passenger cell should anything come into the side of the car, something which happens with amazing regularity in banger racing.
I'm going to be dead impressed. 712 spins in avoidance of 226. I'm being generous because I expect Derek Bates actually lost it instead. He'll come after me after this particular meeting. 269 also. Almost losing it. Rear wheel drive as Jason Harrison gets himself back into contention with the rest of the field. 632. Usually these drivers drive much, much bigger engine machinery, but having some right old fun with it this afternoon. 26 there. Chris Howitt from Arlesey in a decidedly unprepared looking Fiat. Hey, you don't have to spend a fortune on the paint job so long as the thing goes. That's what matters. 269 and 226 seemingly welded together. I assure you that's not the case. And 226 making short order of... I shouldn't have said that, should I? 269, I've done a Murray Walker on both of them. I do apologise. Jason Harrison and 236 there. That's Darren Herbert. Both the Herberts racing this afternoon. 130 Jason Harrison back on even terms again. Now the Herberts are becoming something of a target up here at the International Raceway Stadium, as Darren Herbert has just demonstrated thanks to Jason Harrison sticking him out into the centre of the field. Let's look at it again. Back on the back corner, foot down, and you spin the rear wheel car out of contention, points the wrong way. Usually you get yourself track position as a result, and Darren Herbert turns and burns it back onto the track again. And immediately gets nerfed by another crappie coming down the same part of the track. 269 and 236 now becoming one. And I don't think any vows were exchanged at any altar of love there. Now what's Herbert doing? Is he braking? I think he was. Brake testing the 269 car. And he's put him into the centre of the field. 632 decidedly sideways there. What's good for Darren Herbert is obviously good for Neil Herbert as well. Both of the two cars going through there. These two are brothers. Big guys, big crashes. That's 632. I think the Herbert car has become a target for anything and everything that's still on the track. Still it continues round though. Got four wheels, pointing in more or less the same direction now. Where's that nerf? High-speed nerf there. 632 almost up onto two wheels. In fact, I think it was on two wheels there by 269. There's obviously a personal score to settle there. And any minute now you can see it settle again. What is going on here? This is a personal battle. This isn't anything to do with winning races. This is Herbert tagging time. It's not a demolition derby, but it's not far off it. Chris Howitt from Alsey collects 632. Nearly. Doesn't quite manage it. Jason Harrison, meanwhile, is continuing his run, and he's making up places all the while in this particular race. We can't have much of it to go, actually. I think we're down to almost the last lap or two. Both the Herberts retiring out. That's it. Good night to the Dirty Herberts, both of them making a hasty exit. There's the 1, 2, 3, Howitt, Harrison and Dorrell coming through on this, what must be the last lap of the race. And it looks as though Chris Howitt's got it stitched up in the green and red and any other colour, really, Fiat. Popping, I think he's popped it. Oh, there's a spin. Jason Harrison loses second position right on the line from Mark Dorrell, which allows Derek Bates crazily to go over the start-finish line for third position in 7-1-2. Oh, and the Herberts, after you, bruv. One helps the other. Sorted as they go over the line. 236 and 632, the red flag is out. What a fantastic result. Bad one for Jason Harrison. Spun out on the first corner of the race and then loses it on the last corner of the last lap. Gives the win to Chris Howitt in 26. Mark Dorrell takes second with 4.45. And Derek Bates, a lucky third position in 7.12.
Now, banger racing is the first formula most people think of when they think about stock car racing, and that's quite understandable because it is the most dramatic formula of all. It's a full contact motorsport, and it's about crashes, it's about characters, it's about excitement. To me, it's the greatest motorsport of all. It's possibly the greatest formula of all. And so on that note, let's see some more of them.
So heat 2 for the bangers. Mr. Starter gets them away. As always, a rolling start here for these bangers. 236 there at the back of the field. Well, midway through it, to be fair. Darren Herbert seeing if he can continue the family ways. Brother Neil made it the win in the last race. Can he do it this time out? Looking like a very pristine 236 car there, which is more than his brother had to battle with earlier on this afternoon. Let's see what happens as the unfolding 16 laps. See who's going to win, who's going to be a no-hoper. Meanwhile, there's some spinning going on at the back there. Oh, that's 101. That's one of the less experienced drivers. He'll forget